And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. They say divorce is damn well expensive, but how it seems even a prenup can't protect your pockets from the cost. Case in point, Halle Berry. She's now officially divorced from her husband, Olivier Martinez. And despite having a prenuptial agreement, he'll be getting a nice chunk of her change. Berry will be paying him $8,000 a month in child support and 4.3% of all income she makes above $2 million. And there's Britney Spears. She's not divorced from husband Sam Asghari just yet, but she's been ordered to pay him $10,000 a month for his apartment. He's also asking for the pop star to cover his legal fees. Again, this is all despite having a prenuptial agreement in place. How in the hell does this happen? Joining us now here on The Factor Uncensored, attorney Symone Redwine and divorce expert and attorney as well, Leneice Lewis. Glad to have you here both on The Factor Uncensored. But before we start, for those who may not know, what is a prenuptial agreement, Leneice?
So a prenuptial agreement is an agreement that the parties enter into prior to a marriage. This agreement will say what you're going to do if there is a divorce. So whenever we have a divorce, you usually let the judge decide, right? If you can't reach an agreement, the judge decides. The prenuptial or premarital agreement says this is what we're going to do if we have a divorce. We're going to take that power from the judge and we're going to decide this is what happens. You don't have to duke it out. We already know what the terms of the divorce will be.
And let's begin with Britney Spears. She had a prenuptial agreement, but she isn't divorced as of yet.
Correct.
But she has been ordered. That means someone said you have to pay his $10,000 a month rent bill.
Right.
How did we get there?
So before the divorce is final, you have something called temporary orders. And the temporary orders are used to maintain the status quo until a judge can determine that, yes, the prenup is going to be valid and that's what's going to stay in place. So it appears that here what's going on is this is a temporary order until they can confirm whether it's valid.
Now, is this by a mediator or a judge?
A judge. Yeah, so this is by a judge.
But I mean, you have a prenup agreement where you say you don't get crap from me.
That's true. However,
we may not know the details.
Exactly.
Right.
You don't always know. Prenups are not, people think that a prenup means you don't get anything, but that's not what the prenup could decide that, okay, what would be community property is going to remain separate, or you could say, hey, if we do have a divorce, you're going to get this dollar amount. It doesn't mean you don't get anything. You're just saying this is what you will get or this is what you won't get.
But do you think Halle Berry put that in agreement? Leneice, talk to me about that one. Halle Berry has to pay all of that money.
Well, that's a lot of money to us, right? But we don't know what that is to Halle Berry. And then you can't always, so in a prenup, you cannot determine custody. You can talk about child support, you can say what the dollar amount will be, but you can't say who's gonna have custody. So that could be an issue there, is that, you know, they're in a situation where ideally she may have wanted custody and not to pay this man anything. But, you know, the judge could see it very differently.
Also with Halle, I hate to say it, but she kind of got a really good deal. She got a discount compared to what she had to give her baby daddy. Yeah. So her daughter, she has to pay her daughter's father $16,000, double. Yep. She pays him $16,000 a month and only has to give her ex-husband $8,000. So together she's paying $24,000 a month.
Wow, wow. And it's almost like if you sign a waiver or you sign something saying, if I'm harmed, then you're liable, or vice versa. A waiver where it's saying if I'm harmed, nothing can, I mean, you can't sue us. But that doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So with the prenup, people will still try to argue that the prenup is not valid, right? So you could have a prenup and then you could have someone come in and say, oh no, you know, I didn't mean to sign this, or I didn't understand it. Now, depending on how good it is, if you have an airtight one, that's not gonna hold, but you still could have someone come in and do that.
And so with the average person hearing this, I mean, our broke asses ain't got no
Speak for yourself, no?
Wait a minute. I was at your wedding. You got a prenup?
Now that was.
Don't worry about what I need to worry about prenups. You know, we claim
for those who say the prenup doesn't really work if they look at Halle Berry and Britney Spears, what would you tell that person?
I do think that you need a prenup, so I don't know if that answers your question or not as it relates to myself, but I think that you do need a prenup, and they do work. They work, and it just keeps you from fighting. I mean, divorces are expensive, and the more that you have not ironed out and a judge has to decide for you, the more you're paying that lawyer, the more you have to fight. The only thing the prenup does is says, hey, if we get a divorce, this is what you're walking away with, this is what I'm walking away with, or we're going to narrow down what we have to fight over. It's not a bad thing.
Okay, thank you guys, appreciate it. I know my last friend, I said you say it's expensive, you went on vacation after you met with him. Thank you guys for joining us here on The Fact. It's still